Thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, a stunning development in the Middle East as protesters in Gaza take to the streets against Hamas. While here at home, Mike Huckabee, expected to be the next U.S. ambassador to Israel, talks about his support for the Jewish state and the spiritual link between the United States and Israel. Antisemitism growing around the world, including in places where Jews have historically been safe, like Australia. U.S. intelligence officials grilled in the Senate over the leak of those U.S. plans to strike Yemen. And our Studio 5 conversation with recording artist Rebecca St. James and her husband, Cubbie Fink, on their new book called Lasting Ever. It's about love, music, family, and faith. All those stories and more right now on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday. Let's begin in the Middle East, where Palestinians erupted in protest against Hamas, publicly blasting the terrorist group. And here in the United States, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee is going through the confirmation process to be the next ambassador to Israel. Huckabee, a strong supporter of the Jewish state, said he wouldn't push his agenda, but would represent President Donald Trump. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl is on the story.
As Israel continues to expand the battle in Gaza, a rare occurrence took place with video showing hundreds of Palestinians marching and openly rejecting Hamas rule. Out, 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 Hamas out, a group of young men chanted, flying a white flag. They also demanded an end to the war. One speaker claimed they are a people of peace and want to live in peace. While the numbers were small, the protests spread to different areas of Gaza, including Khan Yunis. In Washington, President Trump's pick for ambassador to Israel testified that the atrocities on October 7th require Hamas's removal.
This was not simply a cold-blooded murder in which people came across the borders and shot innocent people. They massacred them. Hamas is not a government. It's not a standing army. It is a terrorist organization, and they acted like it, and they must be treated as such.
Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, says America and Israel share a spiritual link.
We ultimately are people of the book. We believe the Bible. And therefore, that connection is not geopolitical. It is also spiritual.
Huckabee, who is also a Baptist minister, has visited Israel about 100 times. He suggested it's not realistic that Israel is the only place there could be a Palestinian state.
Israel is a tiny little strip of land. You know that. We all do. It's a size of New Jersey, but Muslim countries control 644 times the amount of land that Israel has. The Palestinians were given the opportunity in the year 2000 when Ehud Barak from Israel put everything on the table, virtually said, 100%, here it is, you get it all, and the Palestinian Liberation Organization walked away from it.
On the issue of Iran, Huckabee insists America must face the fact that the regime in Tehran is as much a danger to the U.S. as it is to Israel.
Israel is the appetizer, and we're the entree. They've said that their ultimate goal is to first take care of the little Satan, they identify as Israel, and then come after the great Satan. Senator, that's us. And whatever is happening to Israel, it is the canary in the coal mine.
If confirmed, he vows to work with President Trump in carrying out his policies to secure peace in the Middle East and expand the Abraham Accords. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
And for a closer look at all this, we are joined now by our Middle East Bureau Chief, Chris Mitchell from Jerusalem. So, Chris, we're going to talk more about Mike Huckabee, of course, in just a moment. But let's begin with this Palestinian protest against Hamas. The Wall Street Journal quoted a protester saying, "We're sending a message to the entire world. We reject the rule of Hamas." Has this resentment against Hamas been building for some time for Palestinians?
Yeah, it seems like it has, Ephraim. We know that, but recently there was a report by a Channel 12 reporter here from Israel, went into Gaza and talked to a number of Gazans that were fleeing one combat zone. They were cursing Hamas and Yahya Sinwar, the late leader of Hamas. It does seem to be building, but it's really hard to quantify it, Ephraim, because you really don't know exactly what all the Gazans are thinking, because any dissent by people opposing Hamas has been swiftly quashed in the past, and that would include torture, beatings. We've seen videos of public beatings on the street, and it means even death. So that's why the sentiment of Gazan people, could be under the surface. But the question is right now, could this be a turning point in the battle? And could this really actually help the release of the hostages? And could it bring an end to Hamas rule in Gaza? All questions we don't know, but it's a hopeful sign that even the people of Gaza are turning against Hamas.
Do you think Palestinians would ever try to revolt against Hamas?
Well, it does seem unlikely. Demonstrations, yes, but I don't think people on the streets have weapons like Hamas does. Hamas, as I said, is brutal when they crack down on any opposition ever since they've been controlling Gaza since 2007. So demonstrations might be the only thing they can do right now. And also remember that many Gazans still remain faithful to Hamas and its ideology. They've been part of the sort of an indoctrination for nearly a generation of people there in Gaza. So, but this is a hopeful sign. Maybe it's a turning point, Ephraim. We hope and pray it is, that this could actually help, along with Israel's military operation, bring an end to Hamas in Gaza.
We'll be watching that for sure. Let's turn now to former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee and his nomination to be ambassador to Israel. How is that nomination being received in Israel?
Well, here by the Israeli government, from very, very well received. They welcome Huckabee's nomination. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Governor Huckabee have been friends for a long time. As Julie said in her report, he's visited here about 100 times. So there's a very close relationship with the Israeli leadership. He's also an advocate for Israeli sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. So he has strong support from many of the Israeli communities there in the biblical heartland. He also opposes a two-state solution. That's something welcomed by many people here in Israel. Although there are some Israeli opposition figures, and those would be the people that really want to advocate a two-state solution. They've expressed concern about Huckabee's nomination and whether his views would hinder a negotiated peace with the Palestinians. But many Israelis reject any sort of two-state solution, especially after October 7th.
Now, Huckabee says Iran is as much a danger to the United States as it is to Israel. Could that be used as a reason for the United States to cooperate with Israel in a strike against Iran's nuclear program?
Definitely. I think there's a common enemy that the United States and Israel share, and he expressed that yesterday in the confirmation hearing. Iran threatens Israel, the region, and the world, and especially the U.S. As he said, you know, Israel's the entree, but they're the main, the U.S. is the main course. Great way of putting that. The rhetoric and the military actions and the military buildup here in the Middle East all seemingly headed in the same direction. And many people are wondering, could this be the year of a joint U.S.-Israeli strike against Iran and its nuclear program? That would have an impact on the region and the world, and especially on the people of Iran who want to be free from this Islamic tyranny.
Now, Huckabee also said America and Israel share a spiritual link because they're both, quote, people of the book. Does that resonate with Israelis, including the government?
Especially the government right now. It's more of a religious coalition. So many people, many of them believe in the Torah, the Tanakh, the Hebrew scriptures. So there's a common understanding in many ways, especially about Judea and Samaria being the land promised to the Jewish people. And we saw that in action last night at Ben Gurion. We saw many immigrants coming from France and Russia return to the land of the Bible and believe prophecy is unfolding before our eyes.
All right, our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell, thank you so much for your insights. Look forward to seeing you and hearing from you in the days ahead this week. Israelis and Jews around the world have been dealing with growing anti-Semitism since the October 7th Hamas attacks, including in unexpected places. After the Holocaust, Jews emigrated to Australia thinking they would be safe there, and for decades they were. Now the island nation is experiencing a surge in anti-Semitic incidents. Dale Hurt has this story.
When two Muslim nurses from the Sydney area hospital were suspended and then charged for boasting in a social media video about killing Jewish patients, it brought Australia's growing epidemic of Jew hatred to the world's attention.
I have a question though. All right, for sure. I have a question though. I have a question. Let's say an Israeli, God forbid.
I won't treat them. I'll kill them.
You'll kill them? So if an Israeli is in Australia and God forbid something happened to him and he comes to your hospital, would you kill him?
You have no idea how many Israeli Haradok came to this hospital, and
However, Australia's top Jewish leader told us this is only one of the latest incidents in what he described as an explosion of anti-Semitism down under. Alex Rivchin is co-chief executive of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry.
A synagogue which was incinerated, a childcare centre, private homes, cars. This is what we've been dealing with in Australia for the past 16 months.
This Melbourne synagogue, founded by Holocaust survivors, was firebombed in December. Arsonists also targeted Rivchin's former home, leaving anti-Jewish graffiti in an attempted attack against him. Australia's top spy chief now says fighting anti-Semitism is his agency's top priority. The nation has a new law against Jew hatred, and anti-Semitism has become an election issue. Rivchin says he's grateful something is finally being done, but says it should have happened sooner, like the day after October 7th, when an Islamic cleric in the streets of Sydney said he was delighted by the massacre, or when this pro-Hamas crowd chanted "Gas the Jews," or when Jewish buildings were vandalized and set on fire.
And there was very little done about this. There was very little political condemnation from the necessary places. There was very little police action. There was an inability to identify these people, and so things cascaded from there. We've seen this play out thousands of times in our history. We know where it leads.
Rivchin says he's hearing some Australian Jews, some the descendants of Holocaust survivors, beginning to say they would feel safer in Israel.
And it's kind of crazy to contemplate that people in Australia in our time feel less safe here than they would in a war zone, fighting on multiple fronts. But the more that these incidents take place and become normalized and happen in every sector, in the hospital sector now, in the universities, the schools and professions, it makes people really question their future in this country.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Coming up here at home, the Trump administration intelligence officials grilled by the Senate over the leak of a government group discussion ahead of America's attack on Yemen. We're going to bring you the story. It's coming up when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. The leak of the Signal app group chat, which included senior U.S. officials discussing airstrikes in Yemen, has raised serious concerns about national security protocols. The incident has sparked debate over accountability, with key figures like National Security Advisor and CIA Director defending their actions, while Democrats call for resignations. CBN's George Thomas has this story.
President Trump says he accepts his staff's explanation of how Jeffrey Goldberg, The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, joined the Signal chat group planning airstrikes against terrorists in Yemen.
What it was, we believe, is somebody that was on the line with permission, somebody that was with Mike Waltz, worked for Mike Waltz at a lower level, had, I guess, Goldberg's number or called through the app. And somehow this guy ended up on the call.
During a cabinet meeting earlier in the day, the president defended Waltz, his national security advisor, and said he didn't need to apologize for inadvertently adding the reporter to the encrypted chat.
He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job.
Waltz took responsibility for the leak.
I built the group. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I just talked to Elon on the way here. We've got the best technical minds looking at how this happened.
Goldberg revealed he was added to the chat, which included Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and 15 other senior officials.
It seems completely absurd to me that the national security leadership of the United States would be meeting on a messaging app to discuss forthcoming military action.
Two individuals involved in that chat, CIA Director John Ratcliffe and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, were grilled Tuesday at a Senate intelligence hearing.
I want to make clear that I'm of the view that there ought to be resignations. This disrespect for our intelligence agencies and the personnel who work for them is entirely unacceptable. It's an embarrassment.
The CIA director pushed back against the criticism.
My communications, to be clear, in a Signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
There's a difference between inadvertent release versus
careless and sloppy,
malicious leaks of classified information.
Goldberg said some of the information was so sensitive that his outlet decided it should not be published.
Let's be clear, this was a discussion on an unclassified messaging app about weapons, targets, and timing of future attacks. That is fundamentally classified and should have never been discussed on an unclassified app. Why? Because that information can be used by our adversaries to kill U.S. service members or make their mission less effective. Full stop, bottom line.
This incident raises concerns among national security experts about protocols and the proper channels for discussing sensitive topics, especially in the digital age. George Thomas, CBN News.
Still ahead, recording artist Rebecca St. James and her husband, Cubbie Fink, releasing a book on love, faith, family, and music. We've got our Studio 5 conversation with them when we come back. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Recording artist Rebecca St. James and her husband are offering a new book, Navigating Love, Music, Family, and Faith. It's called Lasting Ever.
Come be still, anxious hearts. Find rest here in the Father's arms.
Hi, everyone. We want to invite you into a really special moment.
There it is. Wow.
What the heck?
Our first book.
It's called Lasting Ever, Faith, Music, Family, and Being Found by True Love.
You two meet, what happens? Eyes connect? Let me hear your perspective and your perspective.
Yeah.
What do you remember most?
Well, it was pretty magical for me.
My confidence is sure. My God has gone before.
I have a song that I wrote probably 10 years prior to meeting him, maybe even more than that had become a big song of mine. And it was all about how I'm waiting for my husband, wait for me. There's a line in the song that says, waiting for the look in your eyes when we meet for the first time. And when we did meet and our eyes connected across the room, there was this magic thing that was just so special. And it was a moment. I love that the song kind of like prophetically, anticipated an event that actually happened, which is really, really sweet.
I had never heard that song. I didn't have this preconceived notion of who she was or have her up on a pedestal. So that initial moment of our eyes locking from across the room was 100% authentic. And it's kind of crazy how much time seemed to kind of slow down, and I was able to get a glimpse of her soul in just in an instant. And then we made our way across the room and ended up talking for 2 or 3 hours that night. And I think we both knew pretty quickly that there was something there.
Now, most people, we hear that and think, oh, what a fairy tale. But we know just in life and relationships, there are highs and lows. And 100%. You guys share the lows. You, singer, have no voice.
Right, yeah. It was really burnout, I think, that brought on, and so emotional burnout that brought on kind of a physical response that was happening with my voice. And I would just, these certain nights during my show, just like be struggling to breathe. It was almost like a panic attack. And I think it was really a part of me realizing I've got to listen to my body. My body is saying something. It's red light warning. I've got to slow down and maybe stop music for a while. And so a year into our marriage, I did do that. And it was a real time of rebirth in a way for me, or like finding my identity outside of music, because I was nearly 20 years into my music journey at that point. So it was a healthy stopping that needed to happen for sure.
And we begin to hear your story. There's some memories you don't recall.
I had a kind of a block in my memory, just an empty space where everything else in my life was filled with just vivid memories of exquisite detail, and for whatever reason I just had a season where I couldn't remember anything, and that was always strange to me and always a bit of a just kind of a question mark on my soul. And years later, through some other challenging circumstances that we were in the middle of, just felt the need to process whatever was going on in there, and through walking through it with Jesus, found healing and freedom on the other side that has been pretty remarkable.
What made you to decide that you would share your love story. It's nice to hear the different voices from chapter to chapter going back and forth. What made you decide we need to share this story?
Telling our stories of what God has done helps us to encourage others that they can apply that same kind of hope or story of restoration or story of redemption to their own life, you know, and can lift their spirits maybe if they're in a challenging time. So that's what we hope the book will do, and that was really a big part of the motivation.
You make everything beautiful. In its time, in your time, it's beautiful.
Again, the book is called Lasting Ever. It is already getting positive reviews from readers. It is now available wherever you purchase your books and other reading material. Be sure and join us this evening for a special edition of Studio 5. We're taking an in-depth look at the history of black cowboys. We're going to take you to the Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo, the Black Cowboy Museum, and we're going to head to the Horsepower Ranch to meet the Johnson family, masters of horsepower on 4 legs and 4 wheels. You can catch the all-new episode of Studio 5 on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 8 Eastern this evening. You can also watch it on the CBN News app, or you can find it on YouTube. Stay with us. We'll have much more of CBN NewsWatch when we come back.
Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Go to quickstart.news and subscribe today.
Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is hope. Hold on to hope. If there's still a pulse, there is still purpose. And if there's breath, there is still a blessing. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what it feels like. God has given us the gift of hope for a reason. Hold on to it and have faith in the God of all hope. With that word, make this a wonderful Wednesday filled with hope. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online. That address is cbnnews.com. Take a moment. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. We'll see you back here tomorrow.